Hello. So think about the situation that you are writing and you are a developer in a multi-million dollar company, and whatever the code that you write and the people you are working with, and they are high stake people, they are a high shareholder people, they own a lot of money, and you are a developer to them, you provide your services to them, and the code you wrote, sometimes it breaks, and the security is not so strong, and the problems that we are facing is that you're using AI to write your code, but you're not specifying or giving a lot of time to the security in the cloud services that you are deploying in. So, in an ideal scenario, I'm just thinking that you are using a cloud in which your code is running, your web application is running, and you don't know anything about security. Somehow, think it like a hypothetical situation. So here I started learning about security, and I just used Claude a little bit more in understanding what are the different phases or what are the different steps I should talk about, or what are the different categories or the broad categories. So at last I found out like we have like six broad categories in security when it comes to AWS basically. So first is identity and access management. It means that that is the AWS service which talks about who is able to control or do or use any actions on which service, or what are the specific activities a user can do in AWS. So that is controlled under IAM. The next is detective controls. It talks about how you're logging and alerting or monitoring the AWS services or actions that are going on. Suppose like you are creating any Lambda function, or you are using any API gateway, or any new job is running, or for example you're using RDS or S3 as a services, and you want to know or log that on what time which user created these and which account created these resources and when a particular Lambda function ran basically. So these come under detective controls. So that is the second level of security that we are talking about. We are talking about this as a security because it helps you identify the points which can be a part, or you can even track a security breach using these points. So suppose you don't have a logging feature, and some attack happens, and some unknowingly any services runs, right? So that should be logged somewhere, right? Otherwise, how you will be able to identify that something illegal ran? So these services are important. This is the second feature, that is detective controls. The third comes, that is the infrastructure protection. So think of it like whatever, for example, you have an EC2 instance, right? It is not in local, so there is an Amazon data center actually there, in which there is a particular hardware that you are taking using hypervisor, and you have created a part of it for your use purpose, but you still need a virtual boundary or a network protection around that infrastructure that you have in the AWS data center, right? So that kind of services, those kind of securities that actually help you limit the network, or like basically restrict you to a particular area of the IP or internet network, right? So those comes under infrastructure protection. This is the third criteria that we have. Then fourth category is data protection. I'll talk this much in detail because this is very important. And data breach, data leaking, like we have heard about this numerous times in news actually. So if we talk about data protection, it is like the data at rest is also protected. The data that is moving between the two services, it is also protected, and you don't need to manipulate that. So that is about data protection. So whatever the data you have in a database like RDS, or you have an S3 bucket, or EBS like classic block storage, I think so. So these things comes under data protection. Whatever the keys or the security API keys, passwords, these come under data protection. The next thing is incident response that comes here, is that when something wrong happens, then what is the immediate step or immediate response of your web application that you have deployed, or your architecture or infrastructure that you have deployed. So that comes under incident response. The next is compliance and governance. Here what comes under this is that each and every organization or any company that works has a particular set of rules, or according to the AWS cloud, or their domain rules that they have, and this tells about that whatever application that we have deployed, we are actually serving or following those rules or not basically. So whenever any audit comes under, or for audit and trail purpose, if any government employees or any legal action comes, then you should be able to show that we are under the companies and we are following the rules properly. So these comes under the governance and compliance. Now, according to my understanding, what I have understood, that these are like, this is my own point that I'm saying out loud, that the data protection comes at the top and IAM comes at the top. Those things are actually at the same level, because first of all, you have to restrict the users, right? Whenever the AWS you log in, you create a new user, you directly add it to a IAM role, and setting up other IAM role properly is crucial, because you don't want any random user to be using it, right? It should be properly specified what are the services they are allowed to do, and you should be very also restrictive on what only services or what only actions they can use, just to save in future. So that is a part of IAM. Second is data protection. It is very important according to me, because everyone knows that there's a big quote that data is the new oil. So you should think about that, whatever data that you are preserving, because no company generally needs wants that their data gets leaked and another competitor get their data. So this is what I think about. Here are 6 basic categories of the security in AWS.